the book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 25 and verse 24. Of the woman came the beginning of sin, and through her we all die. I'm going to stop right there. I'm going to start off as always by giving all praise, all honor, all glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Racha, Kodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who teach and who rule well, who taught us this truth through the power and spirit of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. And Lord willing, this lesson is edifying to the elect out there, whoever you might be. And Shalom to the 144,000. It's the brother Amawan Padah from the GMS Denver camp, doing a lesson in regards to how women have been the downfall of many great men in the scriptures. And it's through the spirit, man, that I'm doing this, because I actually planned on doing this last night. And come to find out, the elder apostle Tahar, he did a lesson today on this same exact topic. So that's the spirit speaking. But without further ado, I'm gonna get into this, all right? Because I actually went to Chat GPT and utilized that tool for this lesson. But yeah, that's the truth, man. The woman, the way the Lord designed it in these last days is that, she can be the downfall of many, many men. And our women here in Babylon, they're mostly our enemies, man. And that's because this serpent has beguiled Eve, and pretty much corrupted her, man. All right, so you got to be careful out here when it comes to women. Speaking to you younger brothers out there, and even you older brothers that might be watching, you know what I'm saying? You got to know this, all right? You got to know this, because many men, like I said, have fell to women, great men. So without further ado, let's get into this. Okay, so real quick, this is the elder apostle Tahar's video. As you can see, I haven't watched it yet, but I saw this. I was like, yeah, that's the spirit, all right? That's what he titled his lesson. Of the woman came the beginning of sin, and through her we all die. All right. So let's go to the Chat GPT that I pulled up real quick. Okay, so as you can see right here, I typed in a question: which men of the Bible fell by women? All right. And it says several men in the Bible experienced significant downfalls, setbacks, or challenges as a result of their relationships with women. Here are some notable examples. All right. The first one is Adam. Okay. Genesis 3. It says, Adam ate the forbidden fruit after Eve was deceived by the serpent, leading to the fall of mankind. Now we understand that serpent is not talking about an actual reptile, like an actual snake. It's a man, a snake-like serpent man who was very deceptive. And he gave Eve, all right, that forbidden fruit, which was an alternate philosophy outside of the will of Yahweh. All right. You see? And that's what you see happening today, man. And Adam partook of that forbidden knowledge. Okay. And through that, we all fell, man. And that's when death came into the earth, man. You know what I'm saying? Because before that, we were made to be immortal. And death, that's brought on by sin. And sin is the transgression of the law. So Eve went off first, but then Adam partook. All right. And hence the condition that we're in now. Now let's get a quick precept on that, how sin is transgression of the law. All right. And how sin leads to death. So here we have it right here. All right. This is the definition of what sin is. 1 John 3 and 4. Whosoever committeth sin transgresseth also the law, for sin is the transgression of the law. Okay, that's what sin is, in case you were wondering. All right, it's the transgression of the laws of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. Okay, now let's go to Romans 6 and verse 23 real quick to show you the result of sin. All right, here we have it right here, Romans 6 and verse 23. For the wages of sin is death. All right, the result of sin is death, but the gift of the Most High is eternal life through Yahweh Shai, Hamashiach, our Lord. All right, the Lord of the Israelites, you see? And it's through his blood, through his sacrifice, that we're covered by the sin that, we're subject to since it came into the world, through the woman. All right. Now, don't, get it twisted. We're not bashing women and shit like that. You got to make that disclaimer because people like to say that we're the He-Man Woman Hater Club, and that's not the truth, man. We love women. The Lord designed women for man. So that's not the case. It's just the fact that this was, real. Okay. You got to be careful around women because they bring forth sin if you're not careful, man. They're the weaker vessel, meaning they're more subject to, demonic attacks and they're easily coerced to go off from the ways of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, especially in this society. All right. The women here will entice you into sin, and that leads towards death. A lot of men get killed and put to death by way of a situation with a woman. Okay. And that's just the reality that we're in right now. But yeah, man, let's continue on. All right. So here we have number 2 listed by ChatGPT, Samson. All right. If you know the story of Samson, right? The man who had that super natural strength from Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. All right. A great mighty man of the Lord, right? His downfall was Delilah. All right. Which was a heathen woman, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. But the point is, it says the fall of Samson revealed the secret of his strength to Delilah, who betrayed him to the Philistines, which were our enemies, leading to his capture and eventual death. So a woman led him to his death, man, because he was pillow talking. All right. And, that led to his demise, man. Another example of a mighty man of the Lord, being brought down by the woman, man, giving in to that woman. You see, we have many examples. King David right here. And it's noted in 2 Samuel verse 11. And the woman that he came, fell by was Bathsheba. All right. He gave into his lust. She was enticing David. We believe, I'm saying that, as a man. But she was enticing David to come commit adultery, and that's part of that serpent venom. You know what I'm saying? In this society, what Esau, that serpent, he tells you that it's okay to commit adultery. You got this whole hookup culture shit going on, man, and it's sickening. You see, they got all these movies and shit like that where they, promote adultery amongst, especially our people, man. The music industry promotes adultery, men sleeping with other men's wives. It's looked at as a good thing in this society, man, but it's really leading towards death and disorder in our nation, man. And it pisses the Lord off. That's a sin, punishable by death. Okay. And we've all committed spiritual adultery against the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, Bashim Yahushua. You see, and we're looking for the sure mercies of David because, David received mercy from the Lord after he committed that act, man. Right, having Uriah killed, because it says it right here. It says King David committed adultery with Bathsheba and arranged for her husband Uriah to be killed. This led to turmoil in his family and kingdom. Yeah, the Lord punished, King David. He brought turmoil into, his family. He killed that son that was, or he killed that child that Bathsheba was holding. All right, in result of that unlawful act of adultery, Salakia. But yeah, that's the point right there, man. King David, man, come on. He fell to a woman. This shows you, the power that women have, in this world, man. If you're going in your flesh, because, usually when you're led by your flesh, you're susceptible to, demonic attacks and things like that. And that's what happened here, man. He was led by his flesh. He saw that woman over there bathing on top of that building. She was looking good, man. And he gave into it, man. He gave into her, and what's the word I'm looking for? Seduction. Okay. And a man ended up being put to death, man. Uriah, her husband. He died behind his own woman. You know what I'm saying? Isn't that crazy? So you got to be careful out here, man. All right, another example. Solomon, all right. 1 Kings 11. All right, he had many foreign, all right, heathen wives, and that was his downfall in his old age. All right. It says Solomon's many marriages led him to idolatry, turning his heart away from the Most High and causing the kingdom to be divided after his death. All right, there you go, man. You see, Ahab. All right, Jezebel. You see, Ahab was heavily influenced by his wife Jezebel to commit idolatry and injustice, including the murder of Naboth. If I'm not mistaken, I believe Jezebel was a heathen woman. Let me do some quick research on that. But these two examples, or if that's true, then these two examples show you that the heathen women can drag you away from the Lord, man, and cause you to commit sin. All right, you see, and have you ultimately judged by the Lord, man. This is why you got to be careful. You can't be a simp out here, man. You got to be, spiritually grounded and rooted in Yahweh Shem Yahushai. All right, there's been many men that fell out of the truth, all right, behind a woman. You see, and now they're waiting for their judgment. So here we have it right here. All right, it says, Chase, the daughter of Ethbaal, the king of the Zidonians, which are heathen, and the wife of Ahab, the king of Israel. All right, this was the first time that a king of Israel had allied himself by marriage with a heathen princess. So yeah, she was a heathen. All right, it goes into her characteristics and how she pretty much influenced Ahab into evil. And real quick, just to expound on Solomon's incidents, all right, when he became older in age, what happened? He was influenced by his foreign wives to worship their gods, their idols. And he built temples unto their idols and whatnot. And, idolatry, man, that's a heavy, heavy sin. And it was brought forth through who? The women, man. This is why men got to be in control, man. Men have to be in control of themselves first, all right, and not allow themselves to be ruled by women, because that's what they teach in this society. This matriarchal society in which women are put at the forefront is totally off, you see? And that's part of that deceiving, cunning philosophy that the serpent gave unto Eve, all right? That out of order scenario, man. The man is the head of the woman because the woman is the weaker vessel, man, spiritually speaking and physically as well. All right, you see women trying to get into men's sports and they get dominated, man, because she is the weaker vessel. That's the order the Lord set up, man. And when you go against that, when you are deceived by this society, by Esau, then you see the results that we have today, man. Complete disorder. All right. And I was actually, check this out, I'm going to bring this out, but I was actually looking for 1 Corinthians 11:3. But 2 Corinthians 11:3 actually goes into what we're talking about as well. It says, but I fear lest by any means, as the serpent beguiled Eve, all right, or tricked Eve through his subtlety, so your mind should be corrupted from the simplicity that is in Hamashiach. All right. So that's the Apostle Paul going in, talking about the church. You know what I'm saying? He was, careful over the church that they wouldn't be deceived by the philosophies of this world, like Eve was deceived in the garden, man, by that serpent. And the modern day serpent is Esau, Edom, the so-called white race, man. They tell you that everything that the Lord has is wrong and everything that he brings forth is right. And that's, upside down. All right. The order of Yahweh Shem Yahushai is correct. And we'll get into that in 1 Corinthians 11:3. All right, here it is right here. 1 Corinthians 11:3. But it lines up perfectly, right? It says, but I will have you know that the head of every man is Hamashiach, or Yahushai. And the head of the woman is the man. And the head of Hamashiach, or Yahushai, is the Most High, Yahweh. That's the order, man. That's the right order, how things are to be ran. And when you get outside of that, you get chaos and corruption. All right, you get death. That's why it says through her we all die, man. A lot of dudes let their woman lead them. And that's totally abominable, man. All right. You see, you got a lot of dudes that get enticed into committing adultery by a woman. Here it is, a woman, talking about, she got a man, but she still want to deal with you. That's leading your ass to death, man. Because what if that man finds out, all right, and he comes and he puts you to death for messing with his woman? And he'll be totally in his right to do so, according to the scriptures. And that woman should be put to death as well, man, according to the law. All right. You see what I'm saying? All right. That's just, what it is, man. But the order right here is set because Yahushai is above us, man. He shows us where to go. He guides us. All right. As we're to guide our women. All right. You see what I'm saying? That's the spiritual order, and it's for a reason. We get out of that order, it leads to death. When you're not following Yahushai as a man, it leads to death. Okay? When a woman is not following us, it leads to death. All right, so I got to bring this out. This is First Esdras chapter 4 and verse 26. It says, yeah, many there be that have run out of their wits for women and become servants for their sakes. All right. And that's talking about men who have lost their goddamn mind behind a woman. And we see that all the time. All right. See, you know, a woman will run you out of your mind if you're not careful, man. If you're not rooted in your how about you out with shy. Okay. And this could be the downfall of men who are not rooted in Yahweh Shem Shai, who don't have this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. All right, like the majority of men in this world. A lot of the men that you see in prison is because a damn woman. Okay? Or men that are in the graveyard dead is behind a woman a lot of times, man. All right? You got men out here being complete simps in these last days, you know, catering to these women that don't have no kind of real love for them in the first place. All right, they out here, you know, doing all kind of shit behind their back, and they giving all their bread to this woman, looking crazy as hell, until she divorces ass and take everything, you know. So you gotta be careful when it comes to women. That's the main point of this lesson, you know, moving in wisdom in these last days. And I want to get to Isaiah 4 and 1 as well, but you know, let's get a little bit more from that Chat GPT. All right, he had the last example right here that it gave. This Herod Antipas, all right? And they had the reference of Mark chapter 6, verse 17 through 28. And the woman was Herodias, all right, and her daughter. Now, if you know that account, that's when John the Baptist was beheaded by Herod, man, because his woman, all right, requested that John be beheaded. But anyway, it says right here, Herod was manipulated by Herodias, and her daughter in executing John the Baptist, an act that led to public disgrace and later political ruin. You see? All right. So the woman influenced him. She pretty much requested to have John the Baptist beheaded, man. So there you go, man. There's little wickedness to the wickedness of a woman. And this is why you got to move careful. Speaking to you men out there, man, especially in these last days. This is in the ancient times, man. So how much more today? John the Baptist was put to death behind a woman, man. You see? Here we have it right here. Ecclesiasticus, otherwise known as Sirach, in the Apocrypha, chapter 25, verse 19. It says, all wickedness is but little to the wickedness of a woman. Man, let the portion of a sinner fall upon her. All right, and the portion of a sinner is death, man. So there's a lot of wicked women out here in this world, man. All right, King Solomon said he searched low and high, man. And out of 1,000 women, he found not one of them to be righteous. All right. And out of 1,000 men, he only found one. So, you know, the majority of the wicked people on the earth are women. And that's just a fact, man. Because they're the weaker vessel. That's how the Lord designed it, man. And they have no guidance, man. See, when the men are out of order, the women are out of order. We got to get ourselves in order with Yahweh Shem Shah first, man, and then put our women in order, man. And that's how things are going to, you know, be put back into the right perspective on earth, man. You see? But yeah, man, these women are wicked as all hell out here, man. Just look at World Star, man. Look at the world, man. Go outside and look at these women. Dressed all slutty, man. You know, adulteress is all hell, man. You know? I see it firsthand. So I know what I'm talking about, man. And we're not here to bash women, you know, but we're here to tell the truth. You see? And, you know, Lord willing, you hopeful elect women are striving to be in order underneath your man. And Lord willing, you know, he put you with a man of the Lord, man. For those sincere aquaf out there. All right? But the point is that the wickedness of a woman is great when she's not being, you know, led in the proper spirit. All right? And it leads to death. All right, so here we have the Apostle Paul going in on this topic right here. All right, this is 1 Corinthians chapter 7. I'm starting at verse 1. Now it says, now concerning the things whereof ye wrote unto me, it is good for a man not to touch a woman. Now let's go in on this right here. Now we understand that the Lord created men and women to multiply and to reproduce. He said, "Be fruitful and multiply." Right? All right. But in this situation that we're in now, through the Spirit, all right, especially a man of the Lord, man, you got to be careful. All right. And it's actually good for you not to be with a woman right now because the Lord is on his way. Now, we're not forbidding you to get you a wife and whatnot, or forbidding you to get some box here and there, but just know what you're involved in, man. And this is spiritual advice from the Apostle Paul, who was taught by Yahushua. All right. You go on to say, nevertheless, to avoid fornication, let every man have his own wife, and let every woman have her own husband. All right. And a man can't have more than one wife. All right. You see what I'm saying? But the thing is that you got to be careful, man. And some men, on this side, they're not, supposed to have a woman on this side because the Lord is using them to do his will. And a woman can be a great distraction unto you, man. And that's what the Apostle Paul was saying this right here. Okay, let's jump down to another point real quick. How a woman can be a distraction. All right, I'm going to start right here, verse 27, and get down to the point. 1 Corinthians 7:27. Art thou bound unto a wife? Seek not to be loosed. Art thou loosed from a wife? Seek not a wife. So if you marry, to a woman and you got a relationship going, all right, you in the truth and whatnot, you can't just put your wife away, man. All right, you got to, remain with her, man. All right, the Lord has set that scenario up for you. All right. Now, if you don't have a wife, the Apostle Paul is suggesting that you don't go out there looking for one. All right, especially in these times that we're in, man. Because it says here, verse 28, and if thou marry, thou hast not sinned. And if a virgin marry, she have not sinned. Nevertheless, such shall have trouble in the flesh, but I spare you. Yeah, you're going to have turmoil and stress. All right. That's what comes with having a woman in this society, man, because shit is out of order. We're under Esau's rulership, man, and it's totally out of whack, man, from the ways of Yahweh Shemel Shai. Women have all this authority under Esau's rulership, and he did that on purpose, man, because he's the fucking serpent. He knew that if he, created a scenario or a situation in which the woman had power over the man, all right, then our nation would be corrupted. Okay, so you're going to have trouble in the flesh because a lot of these women are susceptible to the ways that they've been brought up in Babylon, man. They're entitled. They feel like they're above the man or they're equal to a man. It's just not the truth. Even women that are in the truth, so-called, a lot of these women, they're sincere, but they're still susceptible to the ways of Babylon, man. So it's going to be turmoil, man. Verse 29, but this I say, brethren, the time is short, you see. It remaineth that both they that have wives be as though they had none. And, when you got a wife in these last days and you're a man of the Lord, a lot of your time is devoted to serving your husband, man, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Because we are the wife of the Lord, man. And we're dedicated to serving our power. So a lot of times, the women that you have will feel like they're being left out. Like you're giving more attention to the Lord than her. And that's just the scenario that we're in, man. All right, we're in these last days. The time is short, man. We ain't got time to be Mr. Carl Winslow, and Mr. Family Man and all that shit. All right. This is life and death. So a lot of the men that have women, it's like they're not even really married because they're devoting their time and energy into serving the Lord, man. Verse 30, and they that weep as though they wept not, and they that rejoice as though they rejoice not, and they that buy as though they possess not. Everything that we're attached to in this world is becoming more and more on the back burner, man. You see, you've given up the things in this life, our own desires, to serve Yahweh Shem Yahushai. All right, verse 31, and they that use this world as not abusing it, for the fashion of this world passeth away. That's right. The Lord is bringing an end to this society. So our focus is on Yahweh Shem Yahushai. But let's see, in the next verse it says, but I would have you without carefulness, he that is unmarried careth for the things that belong to the Lord, and how he may please the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushai. So men that don't have women right now, they're devoted to serving the Lord. You can put all your attention on serving Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Okay, you see what I'm saying? So And that's not to say you can't go out and get you some box, you know what I'm saying? But thing is that when you are not in a relationship with a woman, okay, i.e. being married, then you have more time to serve your How About Shemi Shai. Your focus is on that. All right. That's a good thing, man. All right. A lot of men have become eunuchs on this side, you know what I'm saying? Meaning men who choose not to deal with women so that they can serve the Lord, so they can be at peace, and so they can focus. All right. Because a woman is a major distraction, man. That's just what it is. They require attention and time. All right. And money and other things. Verse 33, but he that is married careth for the things that are of the world, how he may please his wife. All right. And that's the truth, man. You got a wife, you got to keep her happy to some extent, man. You have to engage with her, man. And women are attached to this world, man. They're the weaker vessel. They're more concerned about, their feelings and different things that are going on in society. That's how the Lord designed it, man. That's how he designed them. All right. So when you got a woman or women, you got to devote your time to things that pertain to this society to please them. You got to take them out on dates and all this other shit, man. You know what I'm saying? That's what's required when you got a woman. All right. And, the point is that the woman has a pull, man. There's a pull that comes with having a woman. And if you're not careful, you can allow that pull to pull your ass back into the world completely, to have your ass be destroyed. You see? All right. You got dudes that are missing camp or missing, gatherings with the brethren because of his woman. That happens. And, men like that ain't going to make it, man. All right. You see, when you put the Lord on the back burner to please your wife, or wives or whatever, you losing, man. You see? Got to bring this one out. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 26. This is from King Solomon, man. All right. And he knew about women. All right. And I find more bitter than death the woman whose heart, or her mind, is snares and nets. All right. Traps. And her hands as bands. Who pleaseth the Most High shall escape from her, but the sinner shall be taken by her. All right. You see that? That's very serious. These women are not just some innocent creatures that they portray themselves to be, and Esau portrays them to be in these movies and whatnot. All right. A lot of these women out here, man, especially the ones that ain't right, they're out there trying to figure out how to trap you up and shit, man, how to get over on you. They don't give a damn about you, man. All right. So you got to be careful out here, man. The King Solomon, who, that's the Lord, man, in a previous incarnation, he said that right here. He said he finds more bitter than death the woman. Damn. He said it's better off that you be dead in the spiritual realm than to have to deal with a wicked woman on this side, man. And I've seen men totally destroyed by women. I had my, different scenarios, myself. So I'm telling you from experience, man, you men out there, man, you got to be careful. Speaking to myself first and foremost. All right. The days that we're in are evil. And Esau has weaponized our women. You got to understand that. Since the garden, man, he beguiled Eve. And real quick, just a quick news reference. The whole scenario with Tory Lanez, that music artist that got sentenced to prison behind a woman, Megan Thee Stallion. Here it is. He dealing with a woman partying or whatever. And behind her, his ass is in prison. He just got stabbed up like 14 times in prison, man. He had to be hospitalized. And this is all behind a damn woman. This is why you got to be careful, especially now, man. Now I want to get Isaiah 4:1. We're going to close this thing out. All right, here we have it, man. The famous Isaiah 4:1. Now it says, and in that day, the time that we're coming into now, 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. Only let us be called by thy name to take away our reproach. So this is talking about the time we're coming into when all hell breaks loose. You're going to have a lot of men dying. All right. Men that are not protected by Yahweh Shemi Shai. They're going to be put to death out here in gruesome and horrific fashions, as well as these women out here. So The ones that are left are going to be trying to cleave unto a man of the Lord. And that's why it says 7 women shall take hold of one man. 7 being a complete number. It could be more, it could be less. All right. So in that process, the point I'm trying to make is you got to be careful in that too. Isaiah 4:1, it's not going to be no BET uncut video with, a pool party and motherfuckers twerking it. It's not going to be like that, man. A lot of men hear this description and they feel like Isaiah 4:1 going to be, some big party. Nah, man. All right. We're going to have to vet these women. All right. Because a woman could be your downfall in Isaiah 4:1 if you ain't moving in wisdom. We ain't just taking any woman on with us, man. Hey, the men of the Lord going to be able to read your spirit. You see? And we're developing that sense right now, man. Vetting these women that we come across now. You see? Moving in wisdom of the scriptures, not just being, green and, wet behind the ears, thinking that every woman is good for you, man. All right. So take that into consideration. The downfall of many great men were behind women. And take that wisdom into the time we're coming into. Because you're going to have many women coming your way, man. Those of you that are sincere men of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. This is the prophecy. And we have to apply the wisdom. All right. So with that being said, I'm going to end this lesson. I ain't want to make this too long. Just a quick one, through the spirit. And Lord willing, it was edifying to the elect, whoever you might be out there. I want to give all praise, all honor, all glory unto Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Racha, Kodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who teach and who rule well, who taught us this truth through the power and spirit of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, a Kwam Yasharala and a Bab Abal. Shalom.